The light in the room is soft now, just a low, warm glow coming from the corner lamp. A light that really just kisses the edges of the things around us, letting the shadows deepen and inviting us to slow down, to breathe a little more deeply. We are going to settle in tonight with something quiet, something wonderfully, beautifully unexciting. It's an exploration, really, a gentle wander through the past, through a book that was never meant to be read for pleasure, but only for information, a book of names, numbers, and places, a true artifact of the ordinary, a 1950s phone book. Just let the thought of it rest in your mind for a moment. That thick, heavy paper, that slightly dusty, faded cover, perhaps a muted yellow or a soft blue, bound with a seriousness that suggests its importance, its place in the daily life of a mid-century American town. It's not a storybook, not a drama, just a meticulous, patient record of community connections. And that is precisely why it works so well for this quiet time, this moment of letting go. Imagine, if you will, the gentle weight of it resting on a mahogany desk, the smooth, cool feel of the paper under the pads of your fingers as we slowly, ever so slowly, begin to turn the pages. The faintest whisper of friction, the only sound in the otherwise quiet room. We're not looking for anything in particular. There's no urgent message, no secret to uncover, no crisis to resolve, just the simple, hypnotic rhythm of the recitation. We are going to move, column by column, down the list, treating each name, each address, each number with the same steady, measured respect. It's a litany of anonymity, really, a collection of forgotten names that once mattered so much to someone, a gentle stream of data that requires no analysis, no emotional response, only the smooth, unhurried processing by the quiet part of your mind. Let's start near the beginning, perhaps on the A's, where the order is already established. The path is already set, and all we must do is follow the line, like a slow river flowing steadily to the sea of sleep. And so we begin. Abbott Charles R., and the number is 49188. He lived perhaps on Elm Street in a house with a neatly trimmed lawn and a car parked in the driveway. A simple, ordinary existence now condensed to a few characters on a faded page. There is no story here, only the information. And that lack of story is the key. Your mind, which constantly seeks narrative, which craves conflict and resolution, finds nothing here to latch onto, nothing to worry over or dissect. It's just Abbott, Charles R. 49188. The sound of the name, the steady cadence of the numbers. Next, we have Ackerman, Helen M., and the telephone number is 73021. Helen M. Ackerman. Perhaps she was a widow or a school teacher, or maybe she worked at the local dry cleaner. It really doesn't matter. The details are irrelevant. What matters is the sound, the rhythm, the flow of the simple facts. Ackerman, Helen M. 73021. The repetition is your guide, a quiet mantra that slowly, gently begins to smooth out the anxious edges of your thoughts. And then Adams George W., attorney at law. His number is 25500. Even with a title, even with a hint of profession, the pace remains the same. He's just another name, another set of numbers absorbed into the calm, continuous flow. Adams George W. 25500. Listen to the slow, deep resonance of the voice, allowing it to carry you along like a leaf on a slow-moving current. There is nothing important here, nothing at all to keep you awake. The very purpose of this recitation is its utter, profound lack of excitement. We turn to Addison, Robert L., and his number is 61407. Robert L. Addison, 61407. The numbers have a satisfyingly dull quality, a click-clack of dial tones that exist only in the past, an echo of a rotary phone turning slowly back to its resting position. We are simply listening, simply reading, simply observing the dry, fascinating facts of a forgotten community. Adler Ruth F. 38910. Adler Ruth F. 38910. We linger on the name just long enough for it to register, and then we release it, letting it dissolve into the quiet background hum. The paper is slightly rough to the touch, and the ink is a deep, permanent black, a stark contrast against the faded pulp. Imagine the vastness of this book, all these names, a whole town held between two covers, and yet for us, it is just a sequence, a calm, predictable, endless sequence. We move into the B now. The transition seamless, flowing from one letter, one section, one set of names to the next. Babcock Henry S. 74422. Babcock Henry S. 74422. The slight emphasis on the first syllable of the surname, that gentle rise and fall in the middle of the number, a subtle, hypnotic variation within the monotone. And Bailey, Eleanor J. 52191. The middle initial provides a small, momentary anchor, Eleanor J. Bailey. 52191. Just a letter, a hint of a fuller name, a life once lived, now a tranquil entry in a column of type. Baker Dr. Lewis K., physician. His residence number is 46100, and his office number is 46101. The only variation, a simple sequential change in the last digit, a small, satisfying pattern. Baker, Dr. Lewis K. 46100 and 46101. The doctor is busy, perhaps a slightly more complex entry, but we treat it the same, with the same unhurried, gentle pace. Baldwin Patricia A. 37780. Patricia A. Baldwin, 37780. Let the sound of the consonants and the vowels flow over you, not as meaning, but as pure sound, a steady, soothing vibration. You don't have to think about Patricia A. Baldwin. You only have to hear the rhythm of her entry. Bancroft William T. 29090. A simple, round number, easy to remember, easy to dial on a heavy black phone. Bancroft William T. 29090. We move down the column, the the weight of the book pressing slightly into the desk, a steady anchor in the fading light. Barber James P. 65432. Barber James P. 65432. The numbers descending sequentially at the end, a pleasing, quiet pattern hidden in the digits. The quiet focus on these minute, irrelevant details helps to push the louder, more important worries of the day further away, back into the shadows where they belong. We are here now in the 1950s among the lists. Barnes Frederick J. 71111. A very simple, repetitive number, easy to recall. Barnes Frederick J. 71111. The consistency is the key to the calm. The list is non-judgmental, non-dramatic, and simply exists to be read slowly and completely. Bar Susan L. 40019. Bar Susan L. 40019. The zeros in the middle act like tiny, soft cushions, dampening any sharp sound, maintaining the smooth, flowing pace. We keep breathing deeply, slowly, letting the recitation wash over us. And now into the C's, another step taken, another section of the community cataloged. The turning of the page is a subtle, quiet ritual, a reminder of the vastness of the content and the slow progress of our reading. Callahan Edward N. 28877. Callahan Edward N. 28877. The slightly doubled numbers at the end, a small internal echo. Edward N. Callahan. Campbell, Mrs. Doris V. 63045. The title Mrs. provides a momentary glimpse into the social structure of the era, but it is just a detail, a slight texture on the surface of the list, not a distraction. Campbell, Mrs. Doris V. 63045. Carson David Z. Plummer. His number is 39000. The roundness of the number again, the quiet certainty of the zeros. David Z. Carson Plummer. 39000. We pause, not for dramatic effect, but simply to let the quiet certainty of the entry sink in. Carter Mildred T. 52012. Mildred T. Carter, 52012. The name flows easily, softly from the tongue, a gentle whisper against the backdrop of the quiet night. Kate's Lawrence B. 74141. Kate's Lawrence B. 74141. The repetition in the numbers, another gentle rhythm, a steady beat that matches the slow, deep rhythm of your breathing. The quiet, dull focus of this task is the antidote to the mind's perpetual noise. Your thoughts may try to argue, to suggest a more interesting topic, a more engaging story, but the phone book offers only this: dullness, consistency, repetition. And the mind, finding no spark of interest, no reason to engage, begins to relax its frantic grip. It's like feeding a restless animal a large, comfortable meal of plain oatmeal. It's nourishing but profoundly unexciting. Let's continue into the D's, where the names continue their slow, gentle parade across the page. Daniels Howard P30303, a perfectly symmetrical number, quiet and balanced. Daniels Howard P30303, a beautiful, simple sequence. Darby Kenneth W58129, Darby Kenneth W58129. No pattern here, just a random collection of digits, which is also a kind of pattern, a pattern of randomness, which is equally soothing. Davidson, Miss Alice R75566, Miss Alice R. Davidson, 75566. The formality of the address is part of the charm, part of the historical texture. We are simply recording the facts as they appear. Davis Joseph A. Grosser. His store number is 21000, and his home number is 21001. The adjacency of the numbers, the slight, helpful distinction. Joseph A. Davis Grosser, 21000 and 21001. The store is just a digit away from the home, a simpler time. Dean Aliner S64070, Dean Aliner S64070. Listen to the smooth, low tone of the narration. The voice is not trying to keep you awake. The voice is trying to guide you gently away from wakefulness, toward the quiet, deep ease of true rest. We are just turning the pages of the past, acknowledging each resident with a brief, unexcited mention. We are the calm scribes of a quiet, forgotten directory. Dixon, Matthew H. 39112. Dixon, Matthew H. 39112. The slight change in the pace as the consonants change, the momentary shift in the rhythm of the syllables. Dodd, Mrs. Virginia L. 57654. A descending sequence of numbers at the end, a pleasant, gentle slide. Dodd, Mrs. Virginia L. 57654. Donovan, Frank T. 72200. Donovan, Frank T. 72200. The quiet echo of the double two, the roundness of the double zero. Moving on, moving slowly into the next set of entries, the gentle current of the ease. Eaton, Peter J. 41234. An obvious, simple, ascending sequence. Eaton, Peter J. 41234. This is a small, quiet gift to the mind, a recognizable pattern that requires no effort to process. Edwards, Clara B. 65050. A pleasant, subtle repetition within the number. Edwards, Clara B. 65050. Egan, Dr. Charles W., dentist. His number is 24410. Another professional, another quiet entry. Dr. Charles W. Egan, 24410. The quiet, focused drone of the voice is a countermeasure to the busy, active thoughts. Elliot James R. 76321. Elliot James R. 76321. Another descending sequence at the end, a gentle slide towards the lower numbers. Ellis, Mrs. Florence T. 38008. the symmetry of the number, the quiet elegance of the pattern. Ellis, Mrs. Florence T. 38008. We move methodically down the column. We are not skipping anything. We are not hurrying. The only urgency is the calm insistence of the rhythm. Erickson, Walter L. 59191. Erickson, Walter L. 59191. The double repetition of the 91, a quiet little pattern to soothe the attention. Evans, Thomas A. 47007. Another pleasing, quiet symmetry. Evans, Thomas A. 47007. Everett, Catherine H. 62244. Everett, Catherine H. 62244. The doubling of the 2 and the 4. A quiet, gentle resonance in the background. The sheer volume of the text is part of the therapy. We have hours to go. There is no need to rush. The mind understands this, and finding no end in sight, no reason to stay alert, it begins its slow, natural descent into rest. It is a surrender to the inevitable, a submission to the peaceful monotony of the list. Now into the F's, the next chapter in this quiet catalog of a bygone era. The paper feels thin, like onion skin, and the ink is slightly smudged in a few places. Small, unexciting flaws in the meticulous record. Fairchild, Herbert 021456. Fairchild, Herbert 021456. The numbers ascending slowly, almost a gentle climb. Falk, Martha V. 73330. The triple 3, a quiet, insistent repetition. Falk, Martha V. 73330. Farnsworth, John G. 58701. Farnsworth, John G. 58701. The longer surname creating a slightly different, still calm flow in the syllables. Farrell, Mrs. Susan K. 46161. Farrell, Mrs. Susan K. 46161. The pleasing repetition of the 61. Faulkner, Arthur L. 69900. The solid certainty of the double 9 and the double 0. Faulkner, Arthur L. 69900. We continue to trace the lines, allowing our eyes to blur slightly, letting the words and numbers run together into a continuous, soothing texture. The content is designed to be just interesting enough to capture the very periphery of your attention, keeping the frantic, conscious thoughts busy with dull data, but never engaging the deeper parts of the mind that need to rest. Feeney, Robert M. 31098. Feeney, Robert M. 31098. The descending numbers at the end, a gentle slide back towards 0. Feldman, Dr. Morris S., optometrist. His number is 25050. Dr. Morris S. Feldman, 25050. A soft, symmetrical number. Fisher, Carolyn J. 74221. Fisher, Carolyn J. 74221. Fitzgerald, Thomas P. 53690. Fitzgerald, Thomas P. 53690. a simple, unpatterned collection of digits. And now the G's. The steady progress is the quiet victory here. No rush, no stress, just the slow, inevitable movement through the alphabet. Galloway, Henry A. 47890. Galloway, Henry A. 47890. The simple, quiet ascension of the numbers at the end. Gardner, Mrs. Ruth E. 60101. The elegant, simple repetition of the 01. Gardner, Mrs. Ruth E. 60101. Garrett, William D. Insurance. His number is 34444. A very obvious, easy-to-remember repetition. William D. Garrett, 34444. The sheer consistency is a form of quiet, calming elegance. Gates, Patricia 052007. Gates, Patricia 052007. The quiet certainty of the double zero in the middle. Gaynor, Richard Z. 75115. Gaynor, Richard Z. 75115. The repetition in the middle and the end, a gentle symmetry. You may find your attention begins to drift, and this is exactly what we want. When you notice your mind has wandered, simply bring it back gently, without judgment, to the sound of the next name, the next number. Goldsmith, Mary L. 49292. Just let the rhythm settle you again. Goodman, Charles V. 67676. Goodman, Charles V. 67676. A quiet, pleasant, rhythmic pattern in the numbers. Gordon, Dr. Herbert F., pediatrician. His number is 23001. Dr. Herbert F. Gordon, 23001. Grant, Eleanor M. 54422. Grant, Eleanor M. 54422. Green, Arthur P. 78090. Green, Arthur P. 78090. The faint sound of the turning page, the slightly scratchy quality of the voice, the utterly uninteresting content. It's a perfect confluence of quiet sensory data, specifically designed to escort your mind from a state of anxious alertness to one of deep, deep rest. You are safe here, in the gentle monotony of the 1950s phone book. And now the journey into the H's, the middle of the alphabet, the deep, settled middle of the night. Hail, Stephen R. 41010. A simple, quiet repetition of the 10. Hail, Stephen R. 41010. Hall, Mrs. Dorothy B. 65252. Hall, Mrs. Dorothy B. 65252. A rhythmic, predictable sequence. Hamilton, James L. 39009. Hamilton, James L. 39009. The quiet symmetry around the middle zeros. Harris, Miss Betty A. 57777. The very obvious, easy repetition, a momentary quiet anchor. Miss Betty A. Harris, 57777. Hart, William F., electrician. His number is 74000. William F. Hart, electrician, 74000. The quiet, solid certainty of the three zeros. We are just reading. We are not interpreting. We are not analyzing. We are simply listing a calm, predictable, endless list. Hayes, Robert N. 46101. Hayes, Robert N. 46101. Henderson, Alice G. 62121. Henderson, Alice G. 62121. The alternating pattern of the 2121. Herbert, John M. 35550. Herbert, John M. 35550. The quiet, gentle repetition of the five. Hess, Dr. Sarah T., veterinarian. Her number is 58080. Dr. Sarah T. Hess, 58080. Another symmetrical number. Hill, Thomas B. 79876. Hill, Thomas B. 79876. The descending sequence of the digits, a gentle slide downwards. The quiet, almost hypnotic effect of this listing comes from its complete and utter lack of climax. Every name is as important and as unimportant as the last. Every number is just a sequence of digits. There is no urgency, no suspense, no tension, only the soft, continuous stream of the recitation. We move now into the eyes, a smaller section perhaps, but treated with the same meticulous care. Ingalls, Peter W. 41122. Ingalls, Peter W. 41122. The gentle pairing of the double one and the double two. Irving, Mrs. Jane S. 63030. Irving, Mrs. Jane S. 63030. The rhythmic repetition of the 30-30. Irwin, Charles L. 39012. Irwin, Charles L. 39012. The gentle ascent of the last two digits. Isaacs, Robert J. 57878. Isaacs, Robert J. 57878. The repetition of the 78. The quiet focus remains absolute. The mind, having been denied a story, is slowly accepting the simple, unadorned fact of the list. Now into the J's, a slightly larger section, full of quiet, waiting names. Jackson, George K. 72211. Jackson, George K. 72211. The gentle pairing of the double two and the double one. Jacobs, Mrs. Helen P. 45000. Jacobs, Mrs. Helen P. 45000. The quiet, solid presence of the three zeros. Jenkins, Dr. Walter A., pediatrician. His number is 61010. Dr. Walter A. Jenkins, 61010. A pleasing, simple repetition. Jensen, Miss Clara M. 39988. Jensen, Miss Clara M. 39988. The gentle, quiet slide from the double 9 to the double 8. Johnson, Arthur L. 52345. Johnson, Arthur L. 52345. The simple, gentle ascension of the last three digits. we continue the slow, methodical process of reading. The book is heavy, a dense block of quiet information. The light is soft, and your breathing is becoming slower, deeper, more regular. This is the moment when the mind gives way, when the gentle pressure of the profound monotony finally overcomes the resistance of wakefulness. Jones, David H. 76060. Jones, David H. 76060. The Gentle Rhythm of the 60. Jordan, Eliner F. 41110. Jordan, Eliner F. 41110. The Triple One, a quiet, insistent echo. Joyce, Robert P. 65401. Joyce, Robert P. 65401. Kahn, Mrs. Virginia R. 38888. A very obvious, easy, quiet repetition. Mrs. Virginia R. Kahn, 38888. The 4 8s, a gentle, solid beat. And now, the Ks. We are well into the alphabetical journey, deep into the heart of the quiet, monotonous list. Kaufman, Louis S. 52020. Kaufman, Louis S. 52020. The gentle, subtle repetition of the 20. Kelly, Dr. Thomas M., physician. His number is 71357. Dr. Thomas M. Kelly, 71357. The quiet, orderly odd numbers, a subtle, pleasing pattern. Kennedy, Susan E. 46666. Another very clear, simple repetition. Susan E. Kennedy, 46666. The 4 6s, a gentle, solid beat. Care, James B. 69090. Care, James B. 69090. The quiet, simple repetition of the 90. King, Arthur V. 34343. King, Arthur V. 34343. The rhythmic, alternating pattern of the 43. The mind, finding no new stimulus, begins to settle on the simple rhythm of the sound, the pattern of the digits, the soft friction of the paper. This is the comfort of the predictable, the quiet grace of the utterly unexciting. You don't have to listen, you just have to hear. Klein, Robert F. 51100. Klein, Robert F. 51100. The quiet pairing of the double 1 and the double 0. Knox, Mrs. Dorothy L. 75250. Knox, Mrs. Dorothy L. 75250. Kramer, William H. 48765. Kramer, William H. 48765. The simple, gentle descending sequence. Kruger, Miss Alice P. 63311. Miss Alice P. Kruger, 63311. The quiet pairing of the double 3 and the double 1. And now, the long, slow, soothing journey through the L's. The book is getting lighter on the left side, heavier on the right, a slow, physical shift that marks the relentless progress of our reading. Lacey, George W. 31212. Lacey, George W. 31212. The gentle rhythm of the 12. Lamb, Mrs. Helen T. 54040. Lamb, Mrs. Helen T. 54040. The simple, quiet repetition of the 40-40. Lane, Charles D., pharmacist. His number is 75500. Charles D. Lane, 75500. The quiet pairing of the double 5 and the double 0. Larson, Miss Mary B. 49191. Miss Mary B. Larson, 49191. The simple, quiet repetition of the 91. Lawrence, Thomas A. 62002. Lawrence, Thomas A. 62002. The quiet symmetry around the zeros. Let your thoughts detach like clouds drifting slowly across a night sky. You can watch them go, but you don't have to follow them. The only thing that remains is the steady, gentle sound of the list. Lee, Robert J. 37890. Lee, Robert J. 37890. The simple, quiet ascension of the last 3 digits. Lewis, Dr. Paul M., dentist. His number is 51001. Dr. Paul M. Lewis, 51001. The pleasing symmetry around the zeros. Lindsay, Mrs. Susan F. 74400. Mrs. Susan F. Lindsay, 74400. The quiet pairing of the double 4 and the double 0. Livingston, Arthur E. 42112. Livingston, Arthur E. 42112. The gentle symmetry around the 1. Lloyd, Miss Ruth K. 65656. Miss Ruth K. Lloyd, 65656. The quiet, rhythmic repetition of the 56. We are just reading. We are just listing. We are just flowing slowly, inevitably, towards the deep, quiet darkness of sleep. The 1950s phone book, exported to the sheet of night, is the perfect companion for this descent. And now the M's, a large, steady section that promises a long, quiet stretch of uninterrupted reading. MacDonald, James P. 39090. MacDonald, James P. 39090. The gentle rhythm of the 90-90. McIntyre, Alina H. 51234. McIntyre, Alina H. 51234. The simple, pleasing ascending sequence. Mackenzie, Dr. William T., surgeon. His number is 77000. Dr. William T. Mackenzie, 77000. The solid, quiet certainty of the 3 zeros. Madison, Mrs. Clara A. 45555. A very obvious, easy, quiet repetition. Mrs. Clara A. Madison, 45555. The 4 5s, a gentle, solid beat. Mahoney, Robert J. 68989. Mahoney, Robert J. 68989. The rhythmic, alternating pattern of the 89. The pages are thin, the text is dense, and the flow is continuous. Your attention may drift, and that is fine. When it returns, the voice will still be here, steady and unhurried, listing the forgotten names of the past. Mallory, Thomas L. 32110. Mallory, Thomas L. 32110. Mandel, Miss Ruth V. 54321. Miss Ruth V. Mandel, 54321. The simple, gentle descending sequence. Marshall, Arthur P. 76161. Marshall, Arthur P. 76161. The quiet repetition of the 61. Martin, George K. Builder. His number is 49990. George K. Martin, 49990. The quiet, gentle repetition of the 9. Mason, Mrs. Helen B. 61011. Mrs. Helen B. Mason, 61011. The quiet pairing of the double 1. The sheer volume of the text is a promise. It promises that the quiet, dull flow will not stop, will not falter, will not become exciting. It is a long, slow path to a place of deep, unthinking rest. Matthews, Peter J. 37770. Matthews, Peter J. 37770. The 777, a quiet, insistent echo. Maxwell, Dr. Charles W. Dentist. His number is 52222. Dr. Charles W. Maxwell, 52222. The 4 2s, a gentle, solid beat. Maynard, Miss Eleanor L. 74044. Miss Eleanor L. Maynard, 74044. The quiet pairing of the double 4. McCarthy, Robert T. 46116. McCarthy, Robert T. 46116. The pleasing symmetry around the double 1. McConnell, James A. 69009. McConnell, James A. 69009. The quiet symmetry around the double 0. And now the ends, a smaller, quieter chapter in the long, slow book. The friction of the pages turning is a subtle, soothing sound, a gentle reminder of the physical reality of the old book. Nash, Arthur V. 31313. Nash, Arthur V. 31313. The rhythmic, alternating pattern of the 13. Nelson, Mrs. Mary E. 54433. Mrs. Mary E. Nelson, 54433. The gentle, quiet slide from the double 4 to the double 3. Newman, Dr. Paul R., optician. His number is 75050. Dr. Paul R. Newman, 75050. The simple, quiet repetition of the 50-50. Nichols, Thomas K. 48008. Nichols, Thomas K. 48008. The quiet symmetry around the double 0. Norton, Miss Susan F. 62101. Miss Susan F. Norton, 62101. We are just reading. The names, the numbers, the rhythm, the flow, nothing more, nothing less. The perfection of the unexciting. O'Brien, George H. 39999. A very obvious, easy, quiet repetition. O'Brien, George H. 39999. The 4 9s, a gentle, solid beat. And now, the O's, a short but necessary step in the alphabetical march towards the end of the book. O'Connell, Mrs. Martha L. 51010, Mrs. Martha L. O'Connell, 51010, the simple, quiet repetition of the 10-10. O'Connor, James R. 74321, O'Connor, James R. 74321, the simple, gentle descending sequence. Oliver, Dr. Robert P., dentist. His number is 46600. Dr. Robert P. Oliver, 46600. The quiet pairing of the double 6 and the double 0. Osborne, Miss Helen T. 61212. Miss Helen T. Osborne, 61212. The gentle rhythm of the 12-12. Owens, Arthur F. 38080. Owens, Arthur F. 38080. The quiet, simple repetition of the 80-80. The mind is heavy now, the eyelids are heavy, and the breathing is deep and regular. The flow of the text is a quiet, continuous river carrying you toward the deep, silent sea of sleep. And now the P's, a large section, a long, quiet stretch of names. Page, William D. 52332. Page, William D. 52332. The gentle symmetry around the 3. Palmer, Mrs. Evelyn K. 75055. Mrs. Evelyn K. Palmer, 75055. The quiet pairing of the double 5. Parker, Charles L. Printer. His number is 41111. Charles L. Parker, 41111. The 4 ones, a gentle, solid beat. Patterson, Miss Ruth A. 68765. Miss Ruth A. Patterson, 68765. The simple, gentle descending sequence. Payne, Thomas J. 39099. Payne, Thomas J. 39099. The quiet pairing of the double 9. We continue the rhythmic, monotonous, soothing work of reading the 1950s phone book. The list is endless, and the quiet flow is perfect. Peabody, Robert E. 52022. Peabody, Robert E. 52022. The quiet pairing of the double 2. Perez, Dr. Louis V., ophthalmologist. His number is 74040. Dr. Louis V. Perez, 74040. The simple, quiet repetition of the 40-40. Perkins, Mrs. Sarah B. 46677. Mrs. Sarah B. Perkins, 46677. The gentle, quiet slide from the double 6 to the double 7. Peterson, Arthur W. 61010. Peterson, Arthur W. 61010. The simple, quiet repetition of the 10-10. Phillips, James T. 38181. Phillips, James T. 38181. The rhythmic, alternating pattern of the 81. The quiet, endless flow of the text is the final barrier between you and deep sleep. Let the drone of the voice, The rhythm of the numbers and the simple reality of the list guide you over that final threshold. You are safe, you are still, and you are resting. Porter, Miss Alina J. 52200. Miss Alina J. Porter, 52200. The quiet pairing of the double two and the double zero. Powell, David R. 75432. Powell, David R. 75432. The simple, gentle descending sequence. Price, Mrs. Margaret H. 41112. Mrs. Margaret H. Price, 41112. The quiet pairing of the double one. Quinn, Thomas A. 69000. Quinn, Thomas A. 69000. The quiet, solid presence of the three zeros. And now, the cues, the shortest, fastest section. A momentary quiet acceleration before the long, long stretch of the R's. Quigley, Mrs. Alice F. 31001. Mrs. Alice F. Quigley, 31001. The quiet symmetry around the double zero. Raleigh, Robert E. 54444. A very obvious, easy, quiet repetition. Raleigh, Robert E. 54444. The four fours, a gentle, solid beat. And now, the R's, a large, heavy section. A long, quiet stretch of names to carry us through the final hours of the night. Randall, James L. 72323. Randall, James L. 72323. The rhythmic, alternating pattern of the 23. Ray, Miss Susan K. 41000. Miss Susan K. Ray 41000. The quiet, solid presence of the three zeros. Read, Dr. George W., pediatrician. His number is 65550. Dr. George W. Reed, 65550. The 555, a quiet, insistent echo. Rice, Mrs. Alina M. 39876. Mrs. Alina M. Rice, 39876. The simple, gentle descending sequence. Richards, Arthur J. 51101. Richards, Arthur J. 51101. The quiet pairing of the double one. The continuous drone of the voice, the steady flow of the text, the absolute lack of drama. This is the definition of rest. The phone book is your map to a quiet mind. Riley, Charles P. 74040. Riley, Charles P. 74040. The simple, quiet repetition of the 40-40. Roberts, Miss Mary A. 46111. Miss Mary A. Roberts, 46111. The 111, a quiet, insistent echo. Robinson, Thomas F. Plummer. His number is 62222. Thomas F. Robinson, 62222. The 4 twos, a gentle, solid beat. Rogers, Mrs. Helen V. 38998. Mrs. Helen V. Rogers, 38998. The gentle symmetry around the 9. Ross, William K. 51212. Ross, William K. 51212. the gentle rhythm of the 12-12. You are drifting now, the names and numbers blurring into a soft, textured wave of sound. The conscious mind is slowing down, its work done, having been perfectly, quietly distracted by the unexciting task of cataloging a 1950s town. Roth, Dr. Sarah L., psychiatrist. Her number is 75505. Dr. Sarah L. Roth, 75505. The quiet pairing of the double five. Russell, George H. 41001. Russell, George H. 41001. The quiet symmetry around the double zero. Ryan, Mrs. Clara D. 63344. Mrs. Clara D. Ryan, 63344. The gentle, quiet slide from the double three to the double four. And now the S's, a very long, very deep section, the final long stretch that will carry us into the deep, dark heart of the night. Salisbury, Arthur E. 39009. Salisbury, Arthur E. 39009. The quiet symmetry around the double zero. Sanders, Miss Alina V. 51111. Miss Alina V. Sanders, 51111. The four ones, a gentle, solid beat. Schultz, Robert F., electrician. His number is 74242. Robert F. Schultz, 74242. The rhythmic, alternating pattern of the 42. Scott, Mrs. Helen B. 46000. Mrs. Helen B. Scott, 46000. The quiet, solid presence of the three zeros. Sharp, Thomas J. 61011. Sharp, Thomas J. 61011. The quiet pairing of the double one. The flow is uninterrupted, the voice is steady, and the content is perfectly, exquisitely dull. Your only task is to listen and to rest. Shaw, Dr. William P., surgeon. His number is 37777. Dr. William P. Shaw, 37777. The four sevens, a gentle, solid beat. Sheldon, Miss Ruth K. 52345. Miss Ruth K. Sheldon, 52345. The simple, gentle ascending sequence. Shriver, George H. 75432. Shriver, George H. 75432. The simple, gentle descending sequence. Simmons, Mrs. Martha L. 41212. Mrs. Martha L. Simmons, 41212. The gentle rhythm of the 12-12. Smith, James R. Grocer. His store number is 69090, and his home number is 69091. James R. Smith, 69090 and 69091. The slight, quiet distinction between the two, a simple, non-dramatic shift. The sound is a gentle blanket, the voice is a quiet tide, and the book is an anchor in the quiet sea. The mind is settling, the thoughts are fading, and the body is relaxing. Snyder, Miss Alina F. 31122. Miss Alina F. Snyder, 31122. the gentle pairing of the double 1 and the double 2. Spencer Arthur V 54455. Spencer Arthur V 54455. The gentle, quiet slide from the double 4 to the double 5. Stevens Dr. Robert W. Optometrist. His number is 77070. Dr. Robert W. Stevens, 77070. The rhythmic, alternating pattern of the 70. Stevens, Mrs. Clara B. 41001. Mrs. Clara B. Stevens 41001. The quiet symmetry around the double 0. Stewart Thomas A. 62211. Stewart Thomas A. 62211. The quiet pairing of the double 2 and the double 1. We continue to flow slowly, steadily, seamlessly through the list. The monotony is your friend. The quiet is your destination. Stone William K. 38080. Stone William K. 38080. The quiet, simple repetition of the 80-80. Sullivan Miss Ruth M. 59990. Miss Ruth M. Sullivan 59990. The 999, a quiet, insistent echo. Swanson George H. 74141. Swanson George H. 74141. The quiet repetition of the 41. Taylor Arthur L. 46789. Taylor Arthur L. 46789. The simple, gentle ascending sequence. And now, the T's, a long, quiet stretch that marks the final chapters of our alphabetical journey. Thompson, Mrs. Helen P. 61000. Mrs. Helen P. Thompson, 61000. The quiet, solid presence of the 3 zeros. Titus Dr. James R. Veterinarian. His number is 32020. Dr. James R. Titus, 32020. The simple, quiet repetition of the 20-20. Todd Miss Eleanor V. 54400. Miss Eleanor V. Todd, 54400. The quiet pairing of the double 4 and the double 0. Turner Robert J. 71212. Turner Robert J. 71212. The gentle rhythm of the 12-12. Tyler Mrs. Martha L. 49090. Mrs. Martha L. Tyler, 49090. The quiet, simple repetition of the 90-90. The quiet, continuous drone of the voice is the sound of sleep itself, the sound of the world being filtered through a thick, soft veil of deep rest. Underwood George H. 63333. A very obvious, easy, quiet repetition. Underwood George H. 63333. The 4 threes, a gentle, solid beat. And now the U's, a small, brief pause before the final stretches. Updike Miss Ruth K. 31011. Miss Ruth K. Updike, 31011. The quiet pairing of the double 1. Vance Arthur L. 54334. Vance Arthur L. 54334, the gentle symmetry around the 3. And now the V's, another brief, quiet section. Vaughn, Mrs. Helen P. 72121, Mrs. Helen P. Vaughn, 72121, the rhythmic, alternating pattern of the 21. Vogel, Dr. Robert J., pediatrician. His number is 46060. Dr. Robert J. Vogel, 46060. The simple, quiet repetition of the 60-60. Wagner, Thomas A. 61234. Wagner, Thomas A. 61234. The simple, gentle ascending sequence. And now the W's, a large, heavy section. The long, slow stretch towards the end of the book. Walker, Miss Alina V. 38877. Miss Alina V. Walker, 38877. The gentle, quiet slide from the 88 to the 77. Wallace, Arthur W. Baker. His number is 54440. Arthur W. Wallace, 54440. The 444, a quiet, insistent echo. Walsh, Mrs. Martha L. 71100. Mrs. Martha L. Walsh, 71100. The quiet pairing of the 11 and the 00. Ward, George H. 49099. Ward, George H. 49099. The quiet pairing of the 99. Warren, Dr. James R., surgeon. His number is 62002. Dr. James R. Warren, 62002. The quiet symmetry around the 00. The flow is continuous, the voice is steady, and the rhythm is perfect. We are deep into the list now, deep into the night. Washington, Miss Susan K. 31010. Miss Susan K. Washington, 31010. The simple, quiet repetition of the 10-10. Waters, William P. 54321. Waters, William P. 54321. The simple, gentle descending sequence. Webb, Mrs. Alice F. 76666. A very obvious, easy, quiet repetition. Mrs. Alice F. Webb, 76666. The 4 6s, a gentle, solid beat. Weiss, Robert E. 41001. Weiss, Robert E. 41001. The quiet symmetry around the 00. West, Thomas J. 63344. West, Thomas J. 63344. The gentle, quiet slide from the 33 to the 44. The gentle, monotonous drone of the 1950s phone book, The List of the Forgotten, is the perfect soundtrack for falling into the deep, quiet comfort of sleep. Wheeler, Miss Alina M. 38080. Miss Alina M. Wheeler, 38080. The quiet, simple repetition of the 80-80. White, Arthur V. 51234. White, Arthur V. 51234. The simple, gentle ascending sequence. Williams, Dr. Charles L., dentist. His number is 75500. Dr. Charles L. Williams, 75500. The quiet pairing of the double 5 and the double 0. Wilson, Mrs. Helen P. 46161. Mrs. Helen P. Wilson, 46161. The quiet repetition of the 61. Wolf, George H. 69909. Wolf, George H. 69909. The quiet pairing of the double 9. The smooth, unhurried flow is continuous, a river that never ends, a promise of ongoing, gentle, unexciting data. Wood, Miss Martha L. 31000. Miss Martha L. Wood, 31000. The quiet, solid presence of the 3 zeros. Wright, Robert J. 54040. Wright, Robert J. 54040. The simple, quiet repetition of the 40-40. Yates, Thomas A. 71111. Yates, Thomas A. 71111. The 4 ones, a gentle, solid beat. And now the whys, a brief, quiet section, almost the end. Young, Mrs. Aliner V. 46060. Mrs. Aliner V. Young, 46060. The simple, quiet repetition of the 60-60. Zimmer, Arthur L. 63210. Zimmer, Arthur L. 63210. The simple, gentle descending sequence. And now the final section, the Z's, the absolute end of the alphabet, the quiet closure of the list. Zimmerman, Miss Susan K. 39999. A very obvious, easy, quiet repetition. Miss Susan K. Zimmerman, 39999. The 4 nines, a gentle, solid beat. We have reached the end of the alphabetical listings, the final entry on the final column of the final page of names. The flow continues, however, because the phone book always has one last section, the crucial, dull, and utterly essential pages that list the government offices, the hospitals, the schools, and the general services. The Yellow Pages section is not for pleasure, but for function, and we must honor the list by completing it, flowing seamlessly from the residence to the institutions. This final stretch is perhaps the most monotonous of all, as the names are cold, factual, and completely impersonal. We turn the final page of names, and the next section is government offices, a long list of bureaucratic necessity. The light is dim, and the voice is low. City Hall, Main Information Desk 25000. The quiet certainty of the 3 zeros. City Hall, Main Information Desk 25000. Police Department, Non-Emergency 25100. Police Department, Non-Emergency 25100. The slight, incremental change in the hundreds. Fire Department, Administration 25200. Fire Department, Administration 25200. Another quiet, predictable increase in the number. Department of Public Works, Streets Division 25300. Department of Public Works, 25300. The long, bureaucratic name, the simple, solid number. Sanitation Services, Refuse Collection 25400. Sanitation Services, 25400. The same quiet, predictable increase. We are just reading. The names are long and impersonal. The numbers are simple and ordered. This is the definition of unexciting, a perfect sedative for the overstimulated mind. Local School District, Central Office 41000. Local School District, 41000. The quiet, solid presence of the three zeros. High School Principal's Office 41001. High School Principal's Office 41001. The simple one-digit change. Elementary School Number 1 41002. Elementary School Number 1 41002. The quiet, sequential increase. Elementary School Number 2 41003. Elementary School Number 2 41003. The relentless, quiet order of the listing. City Hospital General Inquiries 79000. City Hospital General Inquiries 79000. The solid, quiet certainty of the three zeros. Hospital Admitting Desk 79001. Hospital Admitting Desk 79001. The simple one-digit change. Public Library Reference Desk 65500. Public Library Reference Desk 65500. The quiet pairing of the double 5 and the double 0. Library Children's Section 65501. Library Children's Section 65501. The simple one-digit change. The flow is quiet, the content is dry, and the rhythm is absolutely steady. This is the continuous, seamless narrative of the utterly mundane, a perfect guide to the deep, settled quiet of sleep. The last of your racing thoughts are now settling, exhausted by the sheer volume of unexciting data. You are floating now in the endless, quiet recitation of a 1950s phone book, a gentle, unhurried journey to the peaceful, unthinking silence of a long, deep rest. The words continue, the list continues, and the quiet flow is perfect. You are safe now, and the book is still turning, slowly, quietly, patiently, one entry after the next, one number after the next, until the morning comes.